Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a January wrap-up and also just updating you all on what I'm currently reading. I finished 2 books in the month of January. Those were Disorientation by Elaine Chou and Milkman by Anna Burns. I did a review video on Disorientation and I'll link it somewhere so that you guys can check that out as well. So that was an e-arc that I received from NetGalley and Penguin Press. And Milkman by Anna Burns I read on audiobook, and the narrator was Brid Brennan. Disorientation is an upcoming release. The publication date for that is March 22nd of this year, so it's coming up here soon. If you're interested in what Disorientation was about, you can check out that video, but I'll spend some time talking about Milkman. This novel is narrated by an 18-year-old girl that is only referred to as Middle Sister. The story takes place in the 1970s during the political unrest in Ireland, but it never makes specific mention of the country. It only uses terms like over the road, over the water, this district, their district. It has a very strong setting, but one that could transfer to anyone's life anywhere because it doesn't call out specific places, and it also doesn't use names of people. Middle Sister has 3 older sisters that she refers to as first, second, and third sister, and they are occasional side characters in the novel. Her brothers are talked about. I think she has about 4 older brothers. And then she has 3 younger sisters, which she refers to as wee sisters. She is in a relationship with a man that she refers to as maybe boyfriend, because I think both of them have trouble committing. And as I said, she never calls anyone by name. Everyone is described by who they are related to her, or names that other people have given people, but that still aren't their real name. I listened to the audiobook, and it was narrated by a woman with an Irish accent, so it really got you in the head of the character. It felt like the character was really speaking, and it truly felt like just a stream of consciousness a lot of the time was being narrated to you. So I would be curious to see what the print formatting of this book looks like. I would expect it would be a lot of text, like just walls of text, because there is dialogue, but a lot of it is inner monologue, and the mention of one action leads to the character ranting on 2 or 3 other things that are somewhat related or not at all related to the first action. This book is mostly character driven, but there is a major plot point around this man named the Milkman and how he is pursuing the main character. There are some trigger warnings, such as sexual assault, political violence, suicide, and some mention of dead animals. That's a couple times in the book. I truly enjoyed this book. The only somewhat downside to it was that because it was so much inner dialogue that was being narrated, it wasn't very linear, either in subject matter or in timeline, and it could get a bit repetitive at times, but otherwise it was very immersive to listen to the inner thoughts of this young 18-year-old woman while life was happening around her. And it felt like you were really inside of her head, and you could anticipate what she was going to say or how she was going to react to a situation. She did give a lot of foreshadowing, which I really appreciated, because with so much tumultuous politics going on throughout the setting and different situations, it was quite anxiety-inducing, so it was nice to kind of have an idea of what was coming, just so that you wouldn't be blindsided by anything. This novel is about a lot of exploration in what constitutes sexual violence, complex family dynamics, the impact on young people during times of political unrest, different coping mechanisms that people are using, and just what it's like to not fit into the community around you. The narrator does describe some people in her community as being beyond the pale, and that description is warranted by being an adult that's not in a relationship with anybody, by talking to yourself, by having homosexual tendencies, or what the society views as homosexual tendencies, such as enjoying a sunset if you are a male. Other reasons to be considered beyond the pale would be if you're oblivious to the world around you. There is a girl named Tablets Girl, and she is essentially addicted to poisoning people. She's beyond the pale. Even our main character is insinuated to being beyond the pale because she enjoys reading while walking. And at one point in the story, she says that she is being vigilant by not being vigilant. So she is purposefully avoiding things that are happening. My favorite aspect of this book was just the inner dialogue being narrated by the main character. If you've read Milkman and have any ideas of books that are similar to it, I would appreciate having those recommendations down in the comments. So on to what I'm currently reading. The first of what I'm reading is The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. This is the first book of the Discworld series that was written in chronological order. There are a lot of people that say don't start with this book, but I've read it once for a school project, and this is how I'm getting back into Discworld. I'm actually buddy reading this with a friend, but we've both been really busy, so I think we're only both within the first 100 pages or so. The next physical book that I'm currently reading is The Toll by Neal Schusterman. This is the third book in the arc of Hsieh. I have been reading this series, I guess it's a trilogy, for about the last 6 months. I almost put it down towards the end of the second book. Things were just getting real wild, and it just felt like randomness. It was just crazy. But I needed to see where it went, and I'm still enjoying them, so I'm going to finish the series. And I will have a review video for the series once I finally finish it. And the audiobook that I'm currently listening to, I started today. It's called One Last Stop by McQuiston, I believe. I think I'm on chapter 2 of One Last Stop, and I just know that I'm gonna love it and just binge it in the next couple days. But that's what I've read in January and what I'm still reading going into February. I'm gonna have a February TBR video coming out soon. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books or if you're planning on reading any of these books. I love hearing from you all. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more like it, and I'll see you in the next one.